Well, welcome everyone to today's episode of TMI Advice You Didn't Want. Today we are jumping into the fact that it is September 23rd. You're going to be listening to this on Friday. I don't know what date that is, but it's a couple days from now. But apparently
26.
the rapture was supposed to happen today. We're still here. I
Tomorrow.
mean, it could be because I'm not a Christian anymore, but I used to be. So, but I'm still here as far as I can tell. I mean, and I still, as far as I know, I have Christian friends still out there. I mean, I've seen some of them on social media today. So we got to talk about this because this has been blowing up all over social media. And this is something that we are going to dive into today. So my name is Karen, in case we haven't met.
And my name is Ashley. And yeah, so there's some people that are saying that the prophecy is that it is September 23rd, others that are saying it's September 23rd or 24th, and then others that are it's anytime this week. So it will happen before this Friday. So when our podcast comes out on September 26th, if you are still here, you were not raptured. I am
You're
sorry.
fucked, I guess. I mean, I'm going to be with the rest of the fucked ones, and it's okay. It is what it is.
Well, I saw a post too, which I absolutely love because I'm like a Halloween fanatic. I actually started decorating for Halloween yesterday, and
Mm,
yeah, and there's a post that was talking about, okay, all you Christians can get raptured in September, and then everyone else is gonna have the best fucking Halloween party ever.
oh my God.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm all for that.
oh
And
my
it's
God.
kind of amusing because like I went to Bible school. Like I
hmm
went to
Same.
well, one, I went to a Christian high school and middle
Same.
school. And then
Same.
I went to university, a Christian university.
Same.
And and
I
my
went to
favorite
fucking Liberty University. Anybody that's a Christian knows what the fuck that is.
and well, I'm Canadian, so I don't.
Yeah, if you
But
were in the US, you'd be like, oh, yeah, because it's like the biggest Christian school, at least, well, it's the biggest quote unquote, like, biggest quote being the quote there Christian school, because actually there is Baylor, but I also went to Baylor as well, but it's not really considered Christian anymore. But anyways, we're off topic. I'll let
yeah.
you go.
And so my favorite subject in university was theology of Revelation. And
Mm,
so I ate that shit up. I love learning about all the different symbolism. And I think it kind of is interesting now, like in my deconstruction, I still freaking love numerology.
mm,
And so much of Revelation is numerology.
mhm.
And so I got smacked with Rapture TikTok mostly today, but other days leading up to it, it was like tinkled in. But today it was really like, ooh, this is interesting, because I was watching someone that was talking about like Exodus 22 and Daniel 9 and the Wall of Jerusalem that Nehemiah rebuilt, and I'm like, oh man, I can totally. I haven't. I could totally deep dive into all of that stuff because I love nerding out on that, even to this day when I believe. Probably most of it is a whole bunch of craziness. It still is intriguing to me because I still do think that there is power in numerology and that are like this is how people talk about how we're living in a stimulation or whatever. The easiest way for me to get on board with that is that we're living in a numerology world. Like everything is an equation, everything works with numerology. And the more you understand numerology, the crazier it gets. But yeah, so essentially what I understand is that it all kind of comes back to some traditional celebrations and then also the Wall of Jerusalem being rebuilt. That's my understanding of it. And then there's random people that have talked about their specifics, and like I mentioned, this lady who was talking about her specifics, where Exodus kept coming up for her, Exodus 22 and Daniel 9 and that kind of stuff, and it kept being repeated. So there is this celebration that I don't really, honestly, I haven't deep dived into it yet. There's a celebration of trumpets that hasn't been actually like performed. Like it is a celebration that takes place in Israel, I believe. Um, every year, but they haven't actually done this specific trumpet part of it, where they actually blow the trumpets, is my understanding. And I am sorry for anyone that actually loves this stuff and knows more, and I'm completely butchering it. But they haven't actually blown the trumpets at this certain location in over 2,000 years, and today they are. And so that is a big part of it. A lot of people are saying that they're hearing from God and he's giving them messages and confirmations, and they're like, I think I'm crazy. And then he gives them a confirmation and they're like, oh, I'm not crazy, and all that kind of stuff. And then the Wall of Jerusalem was last built, I believe it was in 1587. Um, yeah, that I think so. 1587. And so because it was sorry, 1538, I just looked down to look at the date. So because it was last built in 1538, that was exactly 587 years that it was destroyed. And so we are now exactly 587 years again from when it was last rebuilt. So a lot of Christians are saying that Jesus is coming back to earth in 2025, specifically not so much September, but in 2025 to take people to the new earth and rebuild the wall of Jerusalem that
You better
Nehemiah.
hurry the fuck up. Come on,
We
Jesus.
got we got a couple of months going.
We
And
got
then
we got some time, but hurry the fuck up, sir.
but I think the September 23rd specifically comes from one that the guy's prophecy, the Joshua, I don't know how to say his last
Yeah,
name.
so he is apparently, so there's a guy on YouTube. His name is, hold on, I'm gonna still butcher his name even though I'm looking at it. Joshua Mlakela. He is a YouTuber that he actually said that God appeared to him. Actually, Jesus appeared to him and told him the exact date of his return
Hmm.
and that it was going to be now.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people, but his name kept coming up over and over again in searches when looking up when is the rapture happening on September 23rd. His name kept coming up over and over again. So I have a feeling that he's one of the big pushers for it's happening today. It's happening the 23rd or the 24th, right? So I mean, I guess we're gonna find out on Friday if the Christians are still listening to us. And that's cool. They probably didn't listen to us in the first place, and that's okay. Like we probably aren't for Christians. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think you said this perfectly before we got on to here. There's so many people right now that are looking at our world and going, holy shit, we're fucked up. Like there's
Yeah.
some crazy stuff that's been happening in the media. It's been happening for years. I don't know that I would say that it's worse now than ever because I think that that's just us embellishing a story because things have just historically been what they've been because we are people, right? So, but I will say that now more than ever, people I think are waking up to the fact that this is fucked up and they know that we need to raise our vibration. And really, I
Mhm.
think that this is what it all comes down to. And you said this so perfectly, so I'm not going to take it all out of your mouth right now, but that people are looking for something new in this world. They're looking for that change in vibration.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the biggest thing. So there's kind of like a crazy idea out there that if you are a Christian, you believe you're going to heaven, why are you not dead?
Mm,
You know, like, and like when I look back at myself as a Christian, it was like, if I truly believe in this beautiful, wonderful heaven, why am I suffering on earth? Like, what's
mm.
the point? If I'm just gonna get to live this wonderful life there, why am I here?
I
Like,
remember thinking that all the time. Why the fuck? What's
yeah.
the point?
And I know like the probably the typical argument would be that we need to be a steward and convert more Christians and do the good work. But really, like if there is a God, he can do that job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fucking needed.
It's not my
And
job. Yeah.
so yeah, so if I'm going to this wonderful place where there's no pain, no suffering, like I'm out. Like
Mm-hmm.
why am I here? And so the only thing is truly, in my opinion, at this time, you're not because you don't have certainty around that you're going to die and you're going to go to heaven. And so I think people are grasping at straws because like or possibilities or however you want to call it because we are in such a hard time and the media is really awful. AI is looming and it's terrifying, in the sense of I don't know who I can trust. And maybe this is just me speaking how I feel, but I have no interest whatsoever, especially as a Canadian, to go on social media and get information because one, as Canadians, we can't access any news whatsoever on any social media platform. So it already feels very censored. And two, with AI, I know for sure there's stuff coming on my news feed where people are completely like dubbed, but done very well with AI. And so it's like you don't really know what's going on. And so it makes this real sense of hopelessness in the world today. Like that it's just a collective feeling of hopelessness, whether it's financial, your job, like the educational system, the medical system, finances, like anything, everywhere you look, it feels like there's pressure. And so it makes sense to me that people are reaching out to this like psychosis of religion more now than ever to escape the hopelessness that we feel collectively.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all looking for that escape from the pain that we ourselves have created. I
yeah.
really truly think that that's what it is. And the thing that's beautiful, but also a falsehood about religion is that there is somebody there to save us. It's
Mhm.
beautiful because as human beings, I do believe that many of us, not everybody, but I do believe that many of us want to help other people. And so it's beautiful in that this being in the sky wants to help us, wants to save us. So it's wonderful for that. But at the same time, that takes our power and it puts it outside of us.
Yeah.
We basically no longer, we've given away all of our power to this ethereal being that we may or may not ever meet because of what we believe. That
Yeah.
just to me, like, oh, when my uncle passed away, he passed away years ago. Okay, it was probably 20 years ago. I was a young child. Actually, no, longer than that because I'm almost 40. That's bananas. But he passed away probably closer to 30 years at this point ago. And what he said to my dad on his deathbed always stuck with me. And I was a Christian back then. Okay. So my uncle said to my dad, now I wasn't in the room, but I can't imagine that my dad would make this up. My dad, who is a Christian and wants to see what's best for his brother, is basically trying to convert him, just telling him, oh, Jesus loves you, that kind of thing. And my uncle apparently looked my dad straight in the face and said, if God doesn't take me as I am, that's not a God that I want.
Hmm.
My dad told my brother and I, as children, this story, told us that this is what my uncle said, probably because it rattled him to his core. He never really went further into it, other than he didn't give his opinions or anything like that, but he told us what happened. And I can't even fathom what would make him want to, other than the fact that him saying that to my dad rattled him to his core.
Yeah.
And it's always stuck with me, even when I was a Christian and was like hardcore Christian. This is the thing, right? But it always stuck with me. You're right, Uncle Bobby. You knew what you were talking about. Like, why would I want a God that can't accept me as I am? I'm fucked up, so you don't want me?
Yeah.
There's some daddy issues there. Like that's the thing that bothers me about a lot of Christianity. And what's interesting is you look at different sects of Christianity. So you go back to Catholicism, Greek Orthodox. They don't actually believe that they're being saved by Jesus. They just believe that Jesus literally came and washed away anybody and anything, any sin from anywhere on this planet, right? We don't have to do anything. It's already been done.
Yeah.
Okay. So that I can get behind that even. Like that I'm more aligned with, even though I still am like, there's things that they do in Catholicism and Greek Orthodox that I could never get behind either. But that I'm like, okay, I can get behind that a little bit more, right? Because it doesn't mean that I'm a piece of shit that you never want to be with me anymore because I didn't say that you're the most amazing thing in the world, right? Like for me, it just doesn't align, you know? And so at the end of the day, when we go to this whole rapture thing, because let's be honest, I remember 10 years ago when there was a rapture that was happening. When I was a child, I remember my mom talking about how there was supposed to be a rapture happening. Those times didn't happen either.
All the things.
Yeah.
Like I remember being obsessed with Y2K and everything was going to shut down,
Yes.
but people were going to get raptured first.
Yes.
And there was like the whole Left Behind series, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's connecting dots of like, oh, it's happening in the next like
Right.
10 years. And then there was that weird Mayan prophecy that was probably like
Mm-hmm.
15 years ago. There's so
Yep.
many.
Yep.
And yeah, and so while I really would love to stand here and be like, I want a new earth, 100%. I really do. And that's where I don't throw a lot of shade to Trump because I do think that they're orchestrating it in a very greed-centered way, orchestrating a better earth, make America great again situation. Um, but yeah, I just think that there is a lot of change that's going to happen. And we've gone through big revolutions with like the Industrial Revolution and things like that. Like there have been some really drastic changes, and there is going to be one right around the corner with AI. I think that's unavoidable. To what degree is it going to be a doomsday situation that some people are predicting? Or what? I have no idea. But I do think we are going to go through a revolution that is bigger than the industrial age that we saw there. And I think that I personally welcome that with open arms. And whether it coincides with a Christian rapture or not, I don't fucking care. I
I
just
don't really
want
care
to
either.
earth.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want people to wake up and go, wait a minute. I'm way more powerful than anybody ever taught me.
Yeah.
And I can create just by my thoughts and my feelings alone. That's
Yeah.
what I care about at the end of the day, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen people, not just
Yeah.
myself, but other people
Yeah.
demonstrating that they've created with their thoughts and their feelings.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, it's so there's been a lot of research on this too. There's a
Mhm.
lot of scientific studies, and actually, Dr. Joe, I would say, is one of the people that is heading up some of the most interesting studies around how powerful we are as manifestors.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a article that came out around COVID times. I think it was 2022 came out, talking about how people that meditated had something in their blood called serpin A5 that was preventing any COVID infection from getting into your body's cells.
Interesting.
Okay. That is pretty fucking magical. And somebody that meditates knows that, or at least they've tapped on some level, how powerful their thoughts and their feelings are.
Yeah.
Because when you're meditating, you're noticing the thoughts that maybe they bother you or maybe they're beautiful. What do you want to think about? What don't you want to think about? Basically, is what you're tapping into when you're tapping into that meditative state.
Yeah.
What do I want to spend my energy on? That's what you're asking yourself. It doesn't have to be this big, weird, mystical thing. It's just basically, where do I want to put my energy? We have
Yeah.
so much energy that we can put in one place or the other. We can have these really low level energy emotions like frustration, overwhelm, whatever. Or we can decide, I want to choose to put my energy in love, bliss, ecstasy, whatever you want to put in there, and feel that. Think and feel about that instead. When you're
Yeah.
meditating, you get to ask yourself, where do I want to spend my time? I
Yeah.
want to spend my time personally in the higher level. I feel good. I love my life energy rather than the low level, right? So at the end of the day, what I care about more with all this rapture stuff is that people figure out that the change is happening within each and every one of us, that
Yeah.
it actually starts with us. And at any time we decide to either like hate on somebody, hate on a group, or I know I've been kind of hard on the Christians, so I apologize for that because my intention is not to hate on them because I love, at the end of the day, I love that they stand for something that they absolutely believe in. Like, good for them, and they love it. They feel good about it. I want you to feel good in whatever you're thinking about or feeling or whatever it is. Like, if you want to believe in, I don't know, there's all kinds of things you want to believe in. I want you to do that because it gives you joy, and you having joy is what raises the vibration of this planet. Okay. So I have to notice in myself, which I just did now, right? I have to notice in myself when I'm starting to get into a lower vibration, like judging other people. When we can do that, when we can stop ourselves from doing that, that's when the game changes because now we're more accepting of everyone, which I think that's what we really need at the end of the day. The acceptance and the love, no matter where somebody is on their journey on this planet. It's beautiful. You're here for a reason. You're here to learn more about that and to experience that. So experience it to its full. I'm so happy for you, whatever that looks like.
So I agree with you. I think that really focusing on the things that we can change, I think like really when you look at the Bible and what Jesus said, because I still do love a lot of scriptures. He came to teach us that we are God. And I know that a lot of people are going to hate me for saying that because he's
Yeah.
supposed to be the one and only God.
Yeah.
But I really think that when he said like we're created as I am, like I am is a creation word. Like that is the manifestation language. And when he tells us, like, if we have faith as small as a mustard seed, we can move mountains and then some. Like, to think that that is not godlike is insanity to me. You know, like,
Hmm.
what else do you call that? It's kind of like, again, we're kind of bashing Christians, but it's kind of like the whole, you're allowed to have prophecy, but you can't be a psychic. You know, like, it's
Right.
like, okay, so one's good, one's bad. Like, really, like, where's the line? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of silly. So, I definitely agree that it's like really tapping into our power of like I am power of creating the life that we want and creating that new earth. And I remember, I think this was even before I like deconstructed, it was like heaven on earth is possible. And so we create our own heaven on earth. And I remember someone saying this, and this contradicts with a lot of like Paul's teaching, but like we create our heaven on earth, and the new earth is heaven on earth. And that's contradictive because Paul spent so much time being prosecuted and in jail and all the things, and a lot of people think that as Christians you need to be martyrs, but I remember there was some people that talked about the new earth was us being believers and us having that peace and that contentment and that love, and that was the new earth. And I am a lot more of that belief that that new earth comes with us raising our vibration and having the love and knowing that we can move mountains legitimately, like
Yeah.
all of that. And I really hope that people don't fuck themselves too much with this whole rapture. Like I've seen TikToks of people like literally selling their belongings and gifting their homes and their vehicles, like gifting it to other people. There was a guy on TikTok that said he just got $2,000 cash given to him because it was yesterday. So Monday, when we're recording this, and they gave him the cash on Monday because he was the last person that they were going to see before they left Earth today.
Mm.
And it's just like, I really, really hope that people aren't in a really bad place after this week and don't follow too blindly into the raptures happening right now.
Hmm.
Because, like, I obviously don't think it's going to happen. My uncle, who's not really religious, but is a conspiracy theorist of like that kind of like COVID conspiracy theorists that were created, and he believed that there was going to be a rapture this summer, and that didn't
That
happen.
didn't
But
happen.
he was very, I remember talking to him in March, and he was very sure that by August this world was going to be unrecognizable. So to all the people that have given money and sold belongings and gifted houses, I really hope that that is okay, that they're okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I want to kind of go back to something that you said earlier too, because I think that this is really important to talk about. You talked about how Christians are basically believing that they need to be martyrs because that's what was
Mhm.
happening to Paul, right? So I think when we create that for ourselves, we create a victim mindset. And
You
it
can't be God and be a martyr.
exactly, you become this victim of, oh my God, everybody's against me. And now
Mhm.
that I'm no longer in the Christian realm, when I was a Christian, I believed this too. I believed that people that weren't Christians were so against me. Like, oh my God, they hate me so much. And it's this ingrained thing. Now that I'm no longer a Christian, I look back at that and I'm like, that's the silliest thing. Why do Christians perpetuate that? That's not necessary because I don't hate Christians. I don't have any feelings towards them negatively. I don't want your views forced on me. And I believe as a Christian, I did that at one point. So I apologize to anybody that I did that to because it was like, it came from a good place because I wanted what was best for other people. But that's not my job to save anybody. That's not my job. And I don't want that to be. So, but to go back to like the whole victim martyr mentality, what's funny is when you're in the Christian realm, you believe that, especially in the United States, I can't speak to Canada, but in the United States, you believe that you're a minority. Okay.
Mm.
Now that I'm no longer a Christian, I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm the minority because there's so many people around me that will be like, oh, I prayed to Jesus today, or oh, I went to church and blah, blah, blah. There are so many people that is actually what they believe. And now that
Yeah.
I'm not in it, I'm like, oh, I wasn't the minority when I was a Christian because Christianity is actually the number one religion in the United States. Hello. What does
Yeah.
that mean? That means there's a lot of people that believe this. So it's not really a minority anymore, right? Like even if you believe it, because this was also where my brain went when I was a Christian. People would believe it, but they wouldn't actually act upon it.
Mhm.
I mean, here's the thing, like I was in a section of Christianity where it was like once you're a Christian, you're always a Christian. Like it's gonna carry you through. So even if I did a Hail Mary, like I should be saved kind of thing, right? Because I actually believed in that Hail Mary of, oh my God, save me, right? So I don't know. Like looking back, I'm like, okay, that was a lot of brainwashing that happened back then, but also I'm really grateful for a lot of it in the fact of what you just said, where I like who Jesus was because I no longer believe that Jesus was here to quote unquote save me, but to show me what I was capable of doing. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. So now I can look at the Bible and I can say, oh my God, I can do that shit. Like, hello. Like that's where the game changes and you become the powerful thing, the thing that actually creates, that manifests, that is the I am power. And that's where the change happens.
Well, and that's the thing with the whole like whitewashing, if you want to call it that. I don't know if that's really the best term for it, but like man washing is
Hmm.
also an aspect of religion. Like the whole idea about like women don't belong in the church was such
Mm.
a huge thing. And like when you look into the history of that, of like King James and all that kind of stuff of how that all came about, it's just insane.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the Christian high school that I went to, we only were allowed King James Bibles, and it's one of the most loosely translated Bibles out there.
Isn't that
But
hilarious?
it fits the script, so that's what we're gonna do.
Hmm.
But like in Corinth, like when Paul talks about women not being in the church, it's for a very specific reason. And then John's main person that he worked with as his like main mentee was a female. And he was writing letters to her,
Hmm.
guiding churches, and those are the books of the Bible, but no one talks about that. And then now there's a whole bunch of people in an uproar about Mary Magdalene's story and how they painted her as a prostitute to take away women's power, and that wasn't her story at all. And so I believe that there was an agenda when the Bible was put together. And it's interesting because even when I was in like my hardcore Christian roots, I kind of felt that way to a certain extent. And I remember being intrigued about the books of the Bible that are in the Catholic Bible, but not the Christian Bible,
Yeah.
and being like, what is the thread that made these books not in the Christian one? Like, was there a conspiracy to this? And I was always like, so there was always that underlying like message that there was an agenda in the Christian church. And it is significantly easier to keep people in line for government, in line as females when you're a victim.
Yeah.
When it's poor me situation, you
Yeah.
don't feel powerful.
Yeah.
So it is far easier to control a population when they believe that they are a martyr and not capable of moving mountains than it is when they believe that they are the I am power that Jesus and God, technically, if you even want to go through that for Genesis, talk about in the Bible. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to give a little bit more historical context too, Saint Anselm, he created the what is it, the substitutionary theory that basically, and I might have that wrong, but he basically said that Jesus came to die for our sins, and if we believe, then we will be saved. That he created 1,000, you can look this up, 1,000 years after Jesus passed.
mhm.
What the fuck? Like, you can look that up. That when I learned that, that was what, like, the nail in the coffin for me, where I was like, yeah, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Because somebody somewhere along the way, years back, wanted to control the masses, and so they fed this information to people, right? So, but for me, once you actually start digging into history, history doesn't lie. Like, you start looking
Oh,
into this.
so much with like
Yeah.
Constantine and all of it. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
And yeah. And like when you think about like Jesus saying like I am the way, the truth, and the life, like yeah, like we all are collectively, right?
Mhm.
And that's where there's so much that gets twisted. And even like when like you think about like the verses like forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Like I hear you say things like that about like they're operating at their current level of awareness.
Mhm.
Like when you truly understand energy and how it works and all of that kind of stuff, everything that Jesus came and talked about aligns with energy. And it's been twisted to fit this one God scenario.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, if you're listening to this and it's Friday and you're a Christian, I mean, it didn't happen, or maybe we weren't chosen. I don't know, whatever, but
Yeah, I think you still fit into it's still 2025, and if you're singing happy or screaming Happy New Year, then we're really fucked. I don't know.
yeah, I guess, yeah. But at the end of the day, the real important thing is let's all raise our vibration and say, who fucking cares what everybody believes? You can believe what you need to, and that gives you bliss, because that's really what we need at the end of the day.
And
The
that's the collective between Christianity and everything else is it all comes back to love.
Yes, please, let's just focus on that. Like, let's focus on that. I really like Muslim, Christian, Buddhist. I don't care. Just
Mhm.
focus on love, because that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. So, yeah. So, with that, I guess we can call this episode of TMI Advice You Didn't Want a wrap for today. So, if you're listening on your favorite podcast host, go ahead, give us a 5-star. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts are. Maybe you didn't like something we said today. I know we were stepped on some toes today. So, whoops. But that might be something you didn't like, but you're welcome. But if you're listening on YouTube, go ahead, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Let us know once again in the comments what your thoughts are. So with that, we're going to call TMI Advice You Didn't Want a wrap for today. Thanks so much for watching. Click on one of the videos below to continue hanging out with us, and don't forget to subscribe.